Good morning, Farmer Rob here from Cannon Hall Farm, and I'm feeling a little bit hoarse, so don't be perturbed if I seem to have a croaky voice. We were supporting our big pal Callum Simpson, the boxer, last night, so consequently I've shouted myself hoarse. But we're not here to talk about horse at the moment. We're here to talk about donkeys, because we've got an exciting period coming up. We've got 5 donkeys due to foal, one of which has foaled already. So this little group of five good pals, which is always nice, because donkeys are an animal that are very social. They're very community led. They're the best of friends, and they need one another's company, especially as the big day approaches. So we've got Pearl, who we think is next, but I did wonder if Bambi was coming up the rails. And an Apricot has come up the rails and won the race. So Apricot and baby, and it's a lovely baby. Still got its little jacket on, because it's getting down to single figures at night. Anne can't stop this morning. Have a wonderful day, Anne. And Carla says, morning, Farmer Rob. And Guy says, morning, Rob. Good morning to everyone out there. So that's a little ray of sunshine that was born on Friday night. I was checking the cameras. We were up at the White Bull, checking the cameras throughout the night, and then but it beat me. All of a sudden, there it was. It had been born. And that's how quickly, when things go well, that horses and donkeys deliver. They don't mess about. They don't take ages. And yeah, we've got another one to add to the collection. We've got 1,400 people joining us this morning to say hello to this little lady. And it's always nice to have any healthy foal, isn't it? You know, we're not going to be greedy, but to have a little Jenny is always lovely. I'm going to try and climb over here without incapacitating myself. And we'll have a proper look at Apricot. And Apricot's little baby. And what a beauty it is. Aren't you, Flower? Eh? And very, very happy with how it's doing. It fed from the get-go, which is always reassuring. We popped the coat on because, like I said, it's getting down to single figures on a night. And these little foals, as long as the coat doesn't upset Mum, that's the only downside to popping them on. Sometimes, you know, it can interrupt the bonding process. But when it's a good solid connection like this one was, the safest thing is to keep that baby warm, and that's what we did. And an Apricot there, she's quite relaxed now. When she first foaled, as they often are, she was suffering from labour pains, because obviously that's a big foal to push out, and it's bound to cause, you know, some pain and discomfort. So, but yeah, that's really pleasing that we actually gave her anti-inflammatories and pain relief on Friday lunchtime, so that they were nicely settled in. We had a strong suspicion that she was going to fall. We really did, and we sort of got in there early to give her that pain relief, and I think that was a good move. And then I gave her just a little bit more around midnight on Friday. Lovely. Nearly lost you there. Hopefully you've still got the sound. We'll soon find out. Let me know with a thumbs up if you can still hear me. And apologies for being a bit croaky. Great pick of Nelly and the Heron, says Carol. It was, wasn't it? I think if you follow Mill Spring Cottages, is it? Mill Spring Cottages on, not sure if it's Instagram or Facebook, or maybe both. There was a heron came to the back door of Katie's house, and Nelly was quite taken with it, and she had a picture taken with it. Anna shared it, And Lynn says, hope you had a good night at the boxing. We did. We're very pleased for Callum, and commiserations to Ivan Zuko, who put up a heck of a performance and should be very proud. You know, in a way, it was a shame for either fighter to lose. It really was a strong performance from both people. Leslie says, so sweet. Yeah, if you want to see that photo, visit Mill Spring Cottages, I think it is. I'm sure someone on here will be able to guide you to it better than I can. But we're totally spoiled at the moment, aren't we? We've had such a wonderful few weeks of new arrivals. Obviously, interspersed with the sadness of losing Hercules, which is a blow that we will reel from for a long, long time. You know, do you ever get over something like that? You must maybe learn to live with it. So, and that's what we're doing at the moment. So that was incredibly sad and disappointing. So we've got this little lad who is having a nice little snooze, very relaxed, big and strong. I tried to get a video of him drinking milk yesterday, and he had this big milk moustache, but I didn't do it justice. He just moved at the wrong time, and because it would have been a really nice, you know, he'd had this big slurp of milk, and she's obviously got loads of milk, which is great, and he needs loads of milk because he's big. So Helen's put thumbs up. 2,100 people. And yeah, Vicky says, seen the photo. It is lovely, Rob. And the photo that it's referring to is Nellie with a heron outside Mill Spring Cottages. Val says, morning, Farmy Army and everyone. And Sharon says, good morning, Farmer Rob. Good morning, Sharon. Good morning to everyone. Andrea says tonic water is good. So, and Tracy says, Heather Morrison, morning, how's you? And Maddie says, I brought our rainbows to Cannon yesterday. We all had a wonderful time. Well, that's fantastic. And that's Maddie Atkinson. And what a sight it was to see all those rainbows having such an enjoyable day, seeing all the coaches parked up, and it made me really happy to see them having fun. And also, I think it was important that the weather was better than expected, you know. So I think that made a big difference. So Ken Brown says, morning, Rob. Know how you feel this morning. I'm the same. Was shouting on my grandson Mason. And Sue says, good morning, Farmer Rob and Cannon Hall Farm supporters. Good morning. Now, we're having a drink of milk. Fabulous. Glynis says, good morning, Rob. Lovely day from Wiltshire. And Victoria says, good morning, Farmer Robert and everyone. 2,200 people watching. Rosie says, good morning, Rob. I got my adoption pack yesterday. Was very happy with it. And that's from Rosie Ann White. Thank you, Rosie. And so that would be an adoption for one of the animals. Claire says, morning, Farmer Rob, from a sunny Gainsborough in Lincolnshire. It's a nice morning here as well. Very pleased to see the weather nice and calm and sunny and looking loads better. Mary says, good morning, Rob and everyone from Dothan, Alabama, USA. Wow, USA. And Mary says, morning, Farmer Rob, Farmer Dave and all at Cannon Hall Farmy Army. Good morning. Sharon says, tonic water works for restless legs with quinine. I know my dad has tonic water to keep the cramp at bay at night. Sophie says, I feel your pain, Rob. My horse also passed of colic. Hugs to you all. It's just you don't realise just what people are going through until something like this happens, and then you get all these messages about people who've lost horses in similar situations. You know, obviously colic is just such in its worst form, is just such a devastating hammer blow. So Joanne says Judas Chalmers probably on holiday. No, he's back. He's back last night. Wendy says, morning, Rob, from a sunny Portsmouth. Lovely sight with all the babies. And Leanne says, Rob, when is Blossom and Ruby coming back? Well, there lies the story. Ruby was, this is super sad, was mated by Hercules a day or 2 days before he passed. So we're hoping with all our hearts that's worked, because she's not been straightforward, Ruby, this year, and we've been trying and we've tried once more, and there's, suppose we've got the frozen semen, haven't we could try again with. But anyway, it would be super wonderful if she had held. So anyway, we'll find that out in the next couple of weeks. Catherine says, morning Farmer Rob and everyone from sunny Wiltshire, good morning. And Caroline says, what causes colic, Rob? Well, I think a disruption to the normal diet. I think it's a more nuanced thing than that, and a more complex thing. But you know, it's sort of that type of you know, that type of situation. So she's just, they're so odd, aren't they, donkeys? They just push them around, don't they? And you know, she's on the less demonstrative side of motherhood. You know, quite often they can be very, very particular about what they want from the foals and what they let them do. Now this foal's coming to see me now. It'd be interesting if Apricot lets that happen, or whether she puts herself between us and tries to usher it away. At the moment, she seems to trust me, which is nice. Hello, beautiful. Oh. Yeah, see, the little foal's just having a tinkle now. And Mum's just sort of thinking about moving it. And here we've got Pearl. And we still need a name for that beautiful little filly foal. Look at her, she's got her ears back. She's not the friendliest, this one. But she's had a lovely fall, and you can see there, condition-wise, she's almost back to where we'd want her. You know, she lost quite a bit in the latter stages of her pregnancy. Andrew says, we lost a horse a few days before Hercules. Bounty was 26 though, but yeah. But 26 or 3, it's still a rotten thing to go through, isn't it? And Leanne says, fingers crossed Ruby is in foal. We're really, really hoping that she is, because as things stood, and we'll check again, but Silver and Brook, last time we looked, were in foal to Hercules. So we're very much hoping that's still the case. And then there's a chance that Ruby is, although far from certain, because we've not had a positive scan yet. So there's potentially 3 foals there. I know Harry had used him on a mare or 2, and he had a you know, he had a run of mares booked in to see him. It's just so sad. Sophie says, morning, Richard Nicholson. Richard's in the room. And Victoria says, what about Jet or Dallas for Pearl's Fall? Keep them coming, they're all good. Sandra says, I have to give a big shout out to Danny for helping one of our party who stumbled and brought her a wheelchair to help. He's a good man, isn't he? He's a lovely man. Had a great day with the Rainbows, 5th Middleton branch. Took home a family gelato box too. Absolutely gorgeous. Fantastic. So well done to Danny. I'll pass that on. So yeah, we're having a nice drink of milk. And can you just see how Pearl's just offering a leg slightly to one side to allow access for the little one to get to the teat. Sue says, I received my gold level Shire horse adoption pack today, and the packaging is really first class. Thank you, Cannon Hall Farm. No, thank you for investing in that. The adoption packs include tickets to visit the farm, or some of them do anyway, which you know, we really want people to do. You know, it's so nice to see to see people coming and visiting us after following online and maybe you know from afar for a while, but to actually get people here in the room is always lovely, and you know, and I think if there's a connection been made for one reason or another, it's always so nice to see. So I'm just looking at you see that mare there. What's that one called? Pearl. Fairly bagged up, but I wouldn't say any sudden change yet. I think she's going to be last. I think Bambi and the other one are going to be not far behind Pearl, if not sneak in front of her. So 3 there that'll, I would imagine, fall within the next week, or thereabouts, week to 10 days. So exciting times. Right, let us move on. That's Lynn, formerly the cow with no name. We'll be going to the Yorkshire Show. Show prep is underway. Well, it's just nice to feel that bit of sun on your back, isn't it? You know, after a week or so where it's not been just as nice. The wind's not blowing, the sun's shining. It just feels a better place to be. So let's, I think that's Hannah Banana down there. So let's have a look from up here. Morning, Ruth. Morning, Ruth. No, so bad, are you? A couple of things. Those 2 twin calves could run together in that back pen. And which pen helps you bed up from a spreader bale point of view? Well, whichever, have a word with David, whichever helps you most, he could muck out and have that for running the miniature horses in and out more easily. And in answer to your donkeys, we're filming for history today, and one of the sequences is with the miniature donkeys in that narrow paddock. So you could give the miniature horses an hour in that narrow paddock. I think so, yeah. It's no, because the Stallion is a bit daft with them big mares in there. Yeah, yeah. He fancies his chances. So, yeah, give him a good hour in there just to get a pick of grass and get him ready for going out on a more regular basis. And then, if David's time, he could muck out one of these pens and them twins going back with others. Yeah. Then he might muck that one out then. He might not have time, Ruth, but it's there to do. There we go. Just making a little bit of a plan. So there's the big man, the Sultan, and he's a fair animal, isn't he? I think Big Red. Now she does need upping, doesn't she? She's not. It's those two, Ruth, the 2 big cows that we want to feed. No, the one in front of you now. The 2, you know, in the end there, first and third. Yeah, and Big Red. Thank you. So, just making a few plans on the hoof. If you'll pardon the pun, on the hoof. That's Callum. Really pleased with him because I was a little bit wary. We had an issue with his ribs / abdomen when he was born. You know, he definitely more than tweaked something then. You know, there was an injury sustained, and it was great work by Wade and David to get him out and to be in that position now. It wasn't easy, that. And then we had an issue around his breathing. We had an issue around his navel. And to be honest, I did my own thing with that. I gave him a therapy that was based around pain relief and a persistent use of one antibiotic, and it worked. So I'm really pleased, really pleased to get him where he is today, and where he is today is in a really good place. Some really nice calves in here. There's obviously David's calf, Greyhound, is the exception. It's a little bit smaller, but it's growing some hair, isn't it now? Looking better. We won't be able to call him Greyhound soon, or her. We'll, you know, I think she's going to make a good calf in her own right. Just take a little bit longer to get there, but the rest of them look really well, don't they? That's Big Red's calf. That one. I think that's the best calf. But there's a few head turners in here. So 2,600 people watching. You might have heard me say there to Ruth that we're filming on site, on location here, for a farming history programme that we're currently working on. You know, and we went up to film on location in the north of England last week. We're going up again on Thursday, I think. Thursday and Friday. So we're here, there and everywhere. And obviously when I am and when I do, I'm watching the cameras, and I've got Philip on speed dial. There's Greyhound. And I can ring him and say, look, such and such is falling, calving, lambing. And we can keep things looked after. So that's the wonders of modern technology. So the two twin cows and calves are going to run in this pen at the back, and then that's going to give us a pen at the front, which David may or may not muck out. He normally likes to muck things out, so I won't be surprised if he does. And Ruth's going to move its feed bowl through, and Mum should follow along with calves. And then we've got an empty pen there to run the American horses in and out, because once the weather settles down and they've got used to being on grass, and you know, and again, it's all about mitigating the risk of colic. That's why we just give them an hour or two to start with and build up from there. Same with the donkeys. But once we've got them established on grass, we can then leave them out if the weather forecast is good, or we can run them in. We've got that empty pen there, or we will have, to run them into if the weather forecast is not good. Because obviously miniature donkeys, especially with foals, don't want to get a real wetting. You know, it's not what they need or what they want out of life. So Lilibet there, the Highland, is still to calve, and Gladys here. Now I'm going to ask my dad if Gladys, he thinks, is having twins, because she's big and she's strong, and possibly, look at this, just looking at her now, zoom on her, can you see there, if you just see her on the front end? You know, not impossible. I think he thinks it's unlikely. I think he thinks she's just going to have one. But who would, you know, who would have thought we'd have had two? We may well have three. Yvonne says, lovely to hear you, Rob, watching from the caravan in Filey. We've been to Filey many times. Is David filming with you, Rob? Says Mal. He is. And glad Callum better, and well done to our own Callum on his win last night. Did you and Dave go? Did you enjoy? That's from Leanne Stevens. We did go, and we did enjoy. I've never been to a boxing bout before, but I'd very much like to think we'd go to his next one if he fights in Barnsley again. I'm not sure I'd go to Caesar's Palace, or York Hall in Bethnal Green, or Madison Square Garden, but definitely try and get down to Oakwell, our local football stadium, where I don't know how many people were there, but I imagine about 14,000. And it was a raucous atmosphere, and ultimately a night of celebration for Barnsley, because Barnsley doesn't always have that much to celebrate and to rejoice in. And last night was a night for that. Right, let's move on. So there's plenty of work to do down here. All these pens need bedding down. I gave them I had half an hour forking straw yesterday, just to make sure that everything was evenly distributed, because what you tend to find is they just blast it in with a spreader bale and then leave it in a big pile in the middle, whereas probably Ruth and I'd say we're the top forkers, wouldn't you? Yeah, top straw forkers. I hate it. Yeah, Ruth's saying there's nothing worse than finding a mountain of straw in the middle, and so there's Lilibet being fastened back. Probably Lilibet's about 3 weeks away. Liz says, good morning, farmers, Rob and Dave. Good morning. So these ladies now are sharing a pen, which shouldn't be a problem. The cows that know one another. It means that we can feed them intensively, and if you're coming to visit, if you're deciding that you're going to take the opportunity to feed the animals, gives these calves someone to play with as well, doesn't it? There's a little band of 4 now, and they've all got something in common. So if you're choosing to feed the animals, consider giving some of your food to these 2 ladies, because it definitely won't be wasted on them. The milking, I mean, we're feeding them dairy nuts, and we're feeding plenty of them. 3 scoops twice a day. But post them some more down the tubes if you happen to visit. They're having a nice little play, aren't they, isn't it? All 4 heifers. All 4 breeding heifers of the future. We'll definitely bull them. Obviously not bull them with Sultan, because he's the dad. So we'll need to either AI them or borrow a bull. So they're running the horses out, so we can watch this from a vantage point. Do you need a hand, Ruth, or not? You want me to block that gap there? So the horses are going out. So Dick and Colsey are currently doing some fencing that's going to make it even easier to have exercise paddocks for the... see, this is Big Red. Big Red comes out for a feed. Big Red's a cow we're trying to get ready for the Yorkshire Show, but we just need a bit more condition on her. Big smart cow. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, well, obviously the situation with Hercules is laser focused us on sudden changes to diet. Not that happened with him; he'd been on the same thing forever and a day. But one of the things where colic can strike is where they suddenly go out to grass. Well, they've been going out all year, so. But they don't want too much. An hour, 2 at the most. That's it. Yeah, back in before we open up. So I'm going to stand here and direct him that way. Well, I'll try. And the chief protagonist will be the little spotted stallion. He's a bit of a character. But you can see over there, there's going to be a paddock where the oak tree is, and then a bigger paddock below, so that we've got all these options for grazing, and indeed probably give the reindeer a chance on an evening in that bigger paddock, or possibly the oak tree paddock. So we're trying to give everything, more time at grass, a more enriched carry on. and ultimately a better life. That's what we want for everything and everyone. So Ruth and Lauren are now ready. All the gates are set. Lauren is preparing the electric fences. Yeah, I think we're all good. Lauren is a recent addition to our team and works really hard and is making a great impression. So look forward to working alongside her in the months and years to come. Victoria says, "How are the plans for the new roundhouse getting on?" We've got plans afoot, and an application will be going in soon, which will give us even more grist to our mill in terms of facilities for the animals. Gillian says that's a good idea. A monument for Hercules. Well, just whatever you do. Yeah, you can't get too maudlin, can you? You know, nothing's going to bring him back. We know that, and ultimately, that's the biggest sadness of all, isn't it? The fact that nothing will bring him back. But yep, Curlew's calling. But the world keeps turning, doesn't it? And his foals will be born next spring. And we've got to do him justice and be ready for him, and a monument or some means of remembering him is entirely appropriate. So here they go. Okay, the curlew calling. So they're going out for a pick at grass. The donkeys will be going out later because we're actually filming a sequence with the donkeys. So when they come in, when we're ready to film the sequence, which should be around about 10:30, 11ish, then the donkeys will go out. We'll ask people to stand to one side, and you can watch. Anyone who's visiting today will be able to watch us do our stuff in terms of filming. So I think those there's the big grey mares. I mean, they were worth £1 million to us before, and curlew again, and I say that metaphorically because they're priceless anyway, aren't they? Look at Brooke. Look, there's a curlew. It's up there, Ruth. You see the curlew? There's another two flying about. Look at that, Ruth. Curlew. Can you see it? That's a curlew. So we've got curlews and swallows in this very field. Look at that. Fantastic. What a display. Look at it just sailing by. Who needs spring watch? We've got curlew watch. So that's fantastic. Yep, watch out, Ruth. So, Ruth nearly got wiped out. And it's that, look at that cocky stallion. He's cockying. Look at that. I know, she's just thinking what kind of fool is he? She looks really well, Brooke, doesn't she? Those dapples. Yeah. Well, one thing about keeping them out there, they're not They're not to wash, are they? The curlews are going berserk down there. Can you hear that? What a joyous sound. Yeah. So David's on his way. He's back from his holidays. I hope they're all having a roll now. Look at this. See, and that's truly the benefit of getting him out there, isn't it? And he thinks he's the boss. Let's look here. Curlew again. Bottom one, Deb. Curlews are going berserk. Curlews are going berserk. I don't know. We've just been two just flew over this field. Yeah, the bottom one, and it's empty because Yorkshire Rosen. We're filming in that bottom paddock, Ruth. We'll be bringing stuff backwards and forwards.
I've got the trailer on and ready to, and it's loaded up probably now.
Right, grand. Dave, at your next convenience, no, I'm just saying in general though, not necessarily today. One of those pens can be mucked out. The bottom one.
The big pens.
No, the four where they can't get public feed. I'll show you.
The back ones.
No.
You got a knife?
No, sorry.
Whichever, David, gives you best access for spreader bale, so you're not running on muck, because we're gonna.
Right, I can do it now if you want.
It's up to you. We're on camera at 9.
What? Are we dressed up?
Well, I think if we're dressed up, it'll be later. I think I've got a sequence early doors with Matt the vet, and then yeah.
Right.
But whichever of these gives you best access to where you need to get with spreader bale.
Well.
Because you know when you're running with a deep bedding, you tend to bring a bit back out with you.
I can take that out.
Look at them.
There'll be a couple of runs, won't it?
Look at them. They're going absolutely berserk.
Right, I'll go and get a big bucket then.
Look at them. Look at that. It's the Kentucky Derby. That's fantastic. What a sight. That's joyful.
And that paddock's just the right length grass-wise for him.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, they're just going to have an hour, and then we're going to build them up daily. Look at them. They're going absolutely crackers.
Is that Alice?
Alice?
No, that's not.
Alice?
Who is that one?
Who the heck is Alice?
Who's that?
Kiki.
Kiki, that's it.
There's Kiki. There's another little black American. Little black American miniature horse, which is Lily. Is it Lily?
Yeah.
And then there's Casey, who's doing the best to keep up. Look at him. Absolutely
Not quite
crazy.
as fine, Casey, but
Let me
still
just
a nice horse.
see if this might turn into a reel.
Right, I'm going to crack on if we're filming at 9:30, are we?
No, 9. Well, I think they're arriving at 9. And so, but if we've got the sheep and the hurdles down there, then we're ready to start, aren't we? They'll not run forever at this pace. Look at him. What a fool. I mean, that's unbridled joy, isn't it, that? That's just having fun. Having fun with your pals. And he's running about like the main man. 2,900 people watching. Miniature horses and Shetland ponies having fun. Passy said that they are so stunning. I love the Dalmatian spotted one. Its markings are so different. That's sort of where we're aiming. You know, we're hoping next year for a foal from Lily and from Kiki, both to the spotted lad. So yeah, there's something we just sort of quite like the look of. Very entertaining, and we're going to have a little bit of a dabble with them. We've made an investment. You know, that things like that don't come cheap. And but anyway, nice things aren't always cheap, are they? And because of you guys, with your adoptions and visits and stuff, it gives us the chance to invest in, you know, new interesting creatures, and we certainly think these fit the bill. Denise says, so wonderful seeing the horses racing in their manes and tails flying. Exactly that. That's why we've invested in these paddocks. There's 4 paddocks going up there, and once we've got all sorted out, we'll be using them even more regularly. But we've got another paddock here, and there's a big paddock there where the 2 grey mares are. So that's 4, that's 5, that's 6, and then we split this one as well. That's 7, that's 8 grass paddocks for our various collections of different animals. Has the spotted stallion got a name, Rob? Sam? No. I mean, he needs a name. He can't be the horse with no name, can he? He'll have a pedigree name, but we need to name him, don't we, as a fixture at Cannonall Farm. Christine's asking the same thing. Pongo would be a good name. It would, I like that. I had a sheep called Pongo, didn't I? Pongo and Perdita in lockdown. Does anyone remember Pongo and Perdita? So yeah, we're and you see these guys, they've got a hierarchy now. They've got a way of living that works for the group. They'll all have their place, and they'll all be accepting of that place in the food chain, not the food chain, the pecking order. Denise says, how do you adopt? Visit the website. Someone on here will guide you through the process, but you do. It's not like not like it's money for nothing. You do get tickets to visit, and if you're going to visit anyway, then they're not the worst value. To be fair, they're probably cheaper than buying tickets. And Leah says, love the stallions, spotty markings. Lorraine says, good morning, Rob, what a lovely sight, gorgeous. And Leslie says, the staff call him Pongo. Well, if the staff call him Pongo, I'm happy to call him Pongo. He's certainly a character. Janice says, stand the stallion. But they're all getting their heads down for a bit of a nibble, aren't they now? The short shoots of grass are the ones that they've chosen to eat. We're going to give them an hour or thereabouts, run them back in, and then build up from there. And then eventually, once the weather settles down again, and they're used to a grass-based diet, they'll predominantly Carol remembers Pongo and Perdita. I'm absolutely frozen. Alison says he needs a German name, as that's where he came from. Heinz. And Patsy thinks that would be a grand name for him. So David is tootling about. Kelly says we adopted Alan cows and it worked out basically free. We got a family ticket to visit. Exactly, Kelly. So what Kelly has worked out, and it's an irony not lost on me, it's as cheap to buy an adoption as it is to buy tickets. And then you get an update on the animals. And I suppose it's, you know, we're getting our money a little bit earlier, aren't we? So there's a certainty around planning there. Dakota, says Lisa. Joanne's posted an animal adoption link. I think that's the good thing. We're not just saying, oh, give us your money for some mythical, you know, reason. The curlews are still calling. That's nice, look there. See that black lamb? That's sired by one of our Dutch spotted rams. That's one of Gordon's, that. And it's sired by one of our rams that he bought off us, so that's really cool. So yeah, you get your tickets, you get your certificate. You can get to give it as a gift, and it costs no more than just buying tickets anyway. So hopefully it's a win-win for everyone concerned. So Dick and Colsey, Dick and Colsey are currently putting a fence there and a walk-through path, so that we can. I'll show you, so that we can divide, you know, let people have closer access and make this area a little bit more interesting. We've obviously invested in a tarmac path here, so that people on scooters, excuse me, and push chairs and wheelchairs can get round more easily. So, and then there'll be a double fence on the inside there to stop anyone getting bitten. So yeah, hopefully it'll make the place more interesting, more user friendly. Right, let's see if Nick and Cozy have got the post level. They've left that. They've left that in a way where we'll be able to tell. Is the bubble in the middle? Is that level? It must be, or else he wouldn't have left it like that, would he? Can anyone see? I'm not sure I can. So that's the path. Walk straight through there, we'll get that tarmacked, leaving us a nice paddock there. Now I'm just looking here at something that's just putting a bit of a lump in my throat, and it's Yorkshire Rose with Sapphire charging about, living her best life, and she's changing that foal coat to something more permanent. There she goes, look at that. That is Hercules' full sister. Enjoying the day, just a bit. So, look at that, a buck and a kick and a charge and a gallop. Just playing around mum. What a sight that is. Full of life, full of vim, full of vigour. Just like Hercules was. And it's still, you know, I'm so glad we kept her now. Gosh. You know, can you imagine? I said, what's the point of having him if we don't keep something like that? You know, of a bloodline like her, you know, our best mare. You've got to keep her, haven't you? So the focus, the attention, will all shift in this direction very soon, because the Yorkshire Show coming to do a setup, the programme, Channel 5 programme on the Yorkshire Show, following Hercules and Yorkshire Rose. We'll be talking about the loss of, following Sapphire and Yorkshire Rose, we'll be talking about the loss of Hercules. Jackie says, what colour is she going to be? She's going to be grey. If you have a look, there's grey coming through. It'll be on the foal coat. You see just on the shoulder there? And we've had lots of, I mean, they can always they can develop a fault without trying, can't they? But at the moment, there's nothing about her that wouldn't make you think she's pretty smart. You know, she looks really good. Living a great life with her mum. Her mum's not a great mixer. She doesn't like other horses. Not when she's got a foal anyway. So we're not, you know, we could have mixed her with Silver and Brook, but it would have led to a fight, and it's just not worth the risk. We'll reintegrate her back in once Yorkshire Rose is weaned. Janet says Yorkshire Rose is getting so big, so pleased you kept her. So am I. We got what's a 5-figure? Is it a 5-figure offer for her within the first week of her being born. But I said no. We'll hang on to her, please. And that's what we did, and I'm so glad we did. So, what a gorgeous morning. If anyone's coming down today, we are filming on site. Don't think I'm giving any embargoes away, so it's a history programme. You might see us walking around in old-fashioned clothing. So, anyway, it's all... we've always liked dressing up. And this programme gives us a chance to dress up, and it's filmed partly here and then on various historical locations around the UK. I think the programme will be out in the autumn, so hopefully you'll enjoy, you know, what we've been up to. There's the alpaca males down here with Bob and John Bomponi, all rubbing along very nicely. So it's nice to see a little group like that that find friendship and companionship in one another's company. So David doesn't need asking twice to muck a pen out, does he? Absolutely loves it. He's scurrying away, and it's his favourite job in the world, I would say, mucking out. The miniature donkeys will be going out into that grass paddock when the Shetlands and miniature horses come in, and we'll be filming with those mid to late morning. So and then the reindeer have never looked better, and we've got designs on them having access to these grass paddocks as well, maybe on an evening. But certainly, you know, probably a way that we can fix the gate so that they can wander across this path, maybe into there, and back again. You know, that'd be quite cool, so that they can get back to the shed if they want. But they've got the enrichment of a more varied place to live. So Ruth is feeding Big Red and the other cow. We've got 2 cows now that we're prepping for the Yorkshire Show. One is a reserve. See which turns out best. You know, we can get some of our short-horn pals down to advise us and tell us which ones they think are the ones to go with. Leslie says, loved having a stroke with Yorkshire Rose on my farm experience last month. Very sweet. And Anne says, magnificent sight, seeing Yorkshire Rose having a wonderful time galloping around the field. Mum and her are beautiful. So yeah, couldn't agree more. So we're very, very pleased to see her looking so well, and very excited to be going to the Great Yorkshire Show with her. We're taking Brooke as well. We were taking Hercules. I still can't quite believe we're not. But we've got to get over it. We've got to move on. However hard that seems, you know, it just seems such a shame. I got so much pleasure from watching him, you know, looking at him when he was all washed and in his finery and looking so good. Just a gorgeous animal too. I think the most upsetting thing is it was an animal that we would never have planned to get. We'd never have set out to get a Shire horse stallion on our farm here. He just came along. Philip found him, brought him here as a foal, and he was too good to let go. So consequently, we kept finding a way to do it, finding a way to bring him on safely, to keep him with us, keep him in the game. And we found through Harry a really great, you know, something that suited him, something that suited us. He's obviously very used to covering mares and supervising the job, and we just dropped into a really, really nice carry-on. You know, Hercules was happy. Harry was pleased to have him. We were pleased that he was being well schooled and looked after, and then something like that to come along is just the most devastating hammer blow that you could ever see. Anyway, we've been there, we've talked about it, and we're going to have to move on and face the future. So yeah, that's what we've got to do. So these are some heifers that we're going to bolt probably this back end and carve down next summer, I would think, spring/summer. And by then there'll be fair things, won't there? There'll be fair units. And I look forward very much to, and they can go to Sultan, but they need to be big enough. Sharon says, how was Harry taking the sad news? Very, very badly, obviously. You know, he's absolutely gutted. Paula says, super trooper. So 2,800 people watching. Right, I'm gonna have to go, guys, because, like I said, we've got a full day's filming commitment today here on site. Very happy to be doing it. Very happy to have the chance to, nice not to be travelling the length of the country to do something and to celebrate the historic aspects of Cannon Hall Farm. So from Farmer Robert Cannon Hall Farm, thank you so much for watching. Thank you literally for all the thousands of messages of support since we lost Hercules. Thank you for following the page and celebrating the arrival of new life and new things. Nothing will replace him, but there's lots to look forward to, and not least some of his foals for next spring here at Cannon Hall Farm and elsewhere. Thankfully he will, thanks to the wonders of modern science, he will father foals into the future for us mainly. In fact, we might just keep him only for us. Anyway, we've time to think about that. So from Farmer Rob, offered his tractor and trailer to tip some muck. Have a great day. Hope to see some of you about later on. And whatever you're doing, wherever you are, stay safe. Have a good one, and see you soon. Bye bye.